Austria will become the first country in Europe to make COVID vaccines mandatory by law. Authorities have also announced a full nationwide lockdown will be imposed on Tuesday to stem a record surge in case numbers. Adam Parsons has more.
Cases in Austria is going up. It's going up rapidly, and they are worried. Not so much about an outbreak of deaths, but they are worried that their health system is going to struggle to cope with what they think is this latest wave of virulent cases. Also, you're very nervous about the fact that the Delta variant does seem to be so much more infectious, and I think the rest of Europe will be watching very, very carefully, because this step from Austria to say that by February of next year you have to be vaccinated by law is controversial. It will be met with resistance. The Freedom Party, a very right-wing party in Austria, has put a lot of its political capital into supporting resistance to such mandatory vaccinations. But I think there are going to be other nations that look at this and say, well, maybe we should be following suit, because at the moment Europe is the one region in the world where the number of infections is significantly on the rise, and this wave is coming in from the east, from Slovakia, Romania, Bulgaria, countries which have had a low rate of vaccination and which are now seeing their problems with COVID stretching into the rest of the continent. Austria, I think, is now being hit by that. They were reluctant to go this way down a sort of quasi-full national lockdown. In fact, schools will remain open, although parents are being asked to keep their children away if they can. But adults are being told not to come into work. You can't go out for anything except essential purposes. And these were the reflections of the Austrian Chancellor, Alexander Schallenberg.
For a long time, the political consensus was that we don't want a vaccine mandate in this country, but we have to look reality in the eye. Increasing the vaccination rate, and I think we're all in agreement on this, is our only way to break out of this vicious cycle of viral waves and lockdown discussions for good. We don't want a fifth wave, we don't want a sixth wave or a seventh.
As for Europe, well, they certainly will be watching this with interest, but this is a fearful continent. I was in Germany just yesterday. A country did very well in the early stages of the pandemic. I found myself standing in an empty intensive care unit, which is now being readied for what they think will be the fourth wave. Now, there's plenty of theories as to why this is happening. Germany, for instance, ascribes it to a certain potential waning of the original vaccines, potentially because effectively the country sort of loosened some of its grip. And certainly when you look at Europe, you see that Spain and Italy and France, which have maintained restrictions, seem to have a lower rate of infection. But whatever the niceties are around statistics, when you look at this whole continent, what you do see is a Europe that at the moment is worrying about the return of COVID, just as the weather is getting colder.